Hello, this is my VinFast VF6 Plus, all right? This is mine. I paid for it with my money, my hard-earned money, and this is my car, and this is not a press car, and so that I can bring you honest review of this car. I will tell it like it is, what it's like owning the VinFast VF6 for the last 2 weeks and driving over 1,000 kilometers. I will tell you the truth. Let's go.
Hey Tom, it's the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather. First I want to say congratulations on your YouTube channel. Everybody needs to follow your YouTube channel. So what everyone needs to do is subscribe to Tom Peng. Great guy, great person. Tom, keep up the great work.
So, very first thing, camera, come close to me. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? So whenever the VinFast VF6 is on, you hear this noise coming from the car. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm assuming that it's the mechanism that charges the 12-volt battery. I'm guessing here, but you can hear that. There's probably some kind of a fan running in there. I don't know, but it's very distinctive. You can hear this noise. And it's a nuisance. It's a nuisance. Let me tell you all the bad things that happened in the last week. Let's get in the car. All right. Even inside the car, you can still hear that whining, the bzzz, you know, that sound. So it's actually quite annoying. I don't know exactly why that's happening. Maybe we need to go back to the service center to figure that out. I don't want to talk about all the negative experiences I've had, but let's start there anyways, okay? Because there are a few, all right? So very first thing, I have experienced the screen blackout that I've never experienced before. So while I was driving, the screen just went blank, went completely dark. There's nothing on the screen. And in the VinFast, there's no other displays. There is no dash. So you rely on the display to give you information to be able to control the car, all right? But the screen went blank and I was not able to do that. So that was a bit unnerving, all right? So I had that experience. And also, there have been multiple times where I could not get the car into gear. And this is actually a very common problem in the VinFast, especially with the VF8 when I first got it over 15 months ago. So the screen will display multiple errors like drive system fault, like battery EV fault. You'll display multiple errors and you cannot get the car into gear. Initially, we did not know. We called the service center, they call a tow truck. And then we realized we could just disconnect the 12-volt battery. And now we got even smarter because we just shut the car down and walk away and wait a few minutes and come back into work, right? So, but it's quite a nuisance, and that has happened multiple times as well. And just on the way coming here, there's another problem, which is while I was driving, the car started making this noise. It's one of the sensor warning noises, like maybe something was getting too close to the car and it's giving you the sound warning. But the thing is, it just went beep non-stop for about 5 minutes and then it shut off by itself. So we had all these problems with this car in the first 2 weeks of ownership, all right? So I feel that maybe the VF6 quality isn't quite there, all right? And we're also gonna talk about some of the software issues when we get to there. Let's go back out and talk about the exterior, all right? Let's go. So one of the first things you notice about my VinFast VF6 Plus is that it's red, okay? I have never owned a red car and I don't really like the color red, but nevertheless, this is what I got. Just so that you know, I've been stopped by police 2 times already in the last 2 weeks. I have a theory that if you drive a red car, the police will love you more. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true, but maybe they tend to see red cars more visibly and they stop you more often. Well, we'll put that to the test, see if we meet more police uncles and make more friends. We'll see if that's true. Other than that, I think like all VinFast, they're quite good on the looks, okay? It's like a handsome car. Look at the grill. It's like a fish, all right? With a mouth open, all right? And look at the eyes, all right? And look at the lines that are flowing down the side here, and especially in the butt area here. I think it's quite good on the eyes. And look at the rear. That is actually one of my favorite angle of the VinFast VF6, okay? In the butt, all right? Yeah, I don't wash my car, as you can see. And what I do like about all of the VinFast is that they tend to put a big rim, big tire on the cars, which makes the car look quite sporty. You know, kind of like the Range Rover Evoque, right? They put big wheels on the car so that the car looks muscular and sporty. I like the chrome accent, like that, and then also it kind of just narrows down like this, although it does have a fairly short rear window, so visibility is not going to be the best with the VF6. So the charging port is right here. You open it like that. It doesn't come with a cover, so you just plug it in like this. Because the charging port is in the front, so you gotta drive into the charging station, all right? Opposite of VF E34. Every other VinFast EV is in the front. And even though this is supposedly an SUV, but I think it's a little bit deceiving in that there's actually not a whole lot of road clearance, right? So this is more like a sedan, all right? It's more like a sedan. It drives like a sedan. And if you mistakenly take this car off-road, you're gonna have some problems, which I did, okay? Which I did. Look what happened. I took the VF6 off-road and I almost got stuck. You can still see some of the mud here, all right? And probably scraped the bottom of the VF6, which may be a problem because let me show you something. If you get down here, you can see the battery, and the battery is really not covered up. You can touch the battery, all right? I don't know if that's a problem or not, but it seems like the battery is not protected as well as it should. It's just exposed. And let's say if you happen to hit something in the bottom of the car, I don't know what would happen. Maybe that's not a problem. I'm just pointing it out. All right, let's see what else. Well, let's look at the front and the back trunk, okay? Let's see what's in there. You have to like pull it twice, all right? And then you can open it. Oh yeah. So it doesn't have a frunk. There's no storage area in the front, but it does give you easy access to all the components of the car. And to keep the hood up, you have to do something like this. I think like that. All right. So there's the battery. That's all I know. And there's the windshield fluid tank. That's how you fill that up. And it's a Dongnai battery. I think I've mentioned numerous times about this battery. I think this battery is beep, okay? This battery tends to give VinFast a lot of problems, especially when they run low in electrical charge or cannot retain an electrical charge, then basically the car stops, okay? Pretty much most of the solution to VinFast problem is you come to the battery, you find one of the terminals like this, and then you disconnect it. And then you need a 10mm wrench, all right? And then you disconnect it, wait a few minutes, you put it back in, and then you tighten it up, and then magically, all of your problems are solved and you can be on your way. You know what? I'm so stupid. This is actually the coolant. All right, I don't know why there's a coolant tank in the VinFast. I'm assuming this is to cool the battery because there's no engine to cool. So I assume this actually cools down the battery. The windshield washer filler is actually here. All right, but who cares? That's not my problem. Okay, I don't service my own cars. Okay, so let's close that. Let's go. Let's look at the back. Ding, ding. The VinFast VF6 Plus and the normal VF6 does not come with a electric trunk, okay? So you have to use manual labor, okay? There's a button you push here under the V, under the V, and then you have to lift with your arm, okay? Yeah. As you can see, we have a lot of crap in the car. You know, like camera cases and shit. You can probably fit 2 regular sized luggages in the trunk, but it's not going to be spacious, okay? You're not gonna move house with the VF6. You can lower the back seat like so to give you more ample area to put your things, all right? And then you can transport your crap wherever you need to do so. That's about it. This is a very, very fundamental, basic trunk. Let's look inside. Well, let's start with the back seats, all right? I would say the back seat roominess is somewhere between an E34 and a VF5. All right, I think VF5 gives you less room. I think the E34 gives you more room. So if you have been inside a VinFast VF E34, then I think you're like me. You'll be surprised by the roominess in the back. All right, this is not that. This is less than that, but it's more than the VF5. All right, I get probably 2 fists here, and I get probably 1 fist above me there. I'm not a big guy, so it's adequately comfortable for me. Well, the seat feels like an economy car, basically. So it's about the same level of quality. And in front of me, it's plastic. Above me, it's, I would say, fairly cheap material. I do have 2 lights in the back that I can turn on and off. And I do have a vent. I do have a vent here to blow cold air into my face, which is important because in the VF5 there is no vent, and in the back it tends to get a bit warm, okay? Hot actually, but in the VF6 Plus I get a vent, and that for me is quite important. But normally I don't sit in the back. I do get 2 USB charging ports, and that's going to provide a lot of convenience for the people sitting in the back, all right? In terms of storage, I can put my documents here, and what else is there? I do have a fairly small area where I can put some small things, and that's about it. Of course, Mr. Sun cares about this particular feature whenever I'm driving because, you know, right? The headrest is adjustable. I can put it up, but I cannot push it down. How does this work? Let me see. Oh well, it just has to be permanently in that position now. Let's go look in the front. Like any VinFast, how you start the car is by pushing the brake pedal. By doing so, it turns the car on, goes into the start screen there, and then let's lower the fan so that you can hear me. In terms of climate control, you have 6 fan settings. You have Auto, and that will basically give you climate control digitally. So it will control the temperature both on the left and the right side of the car. You can adjust the temperature like that. I do really like the animation. It shows you how the air is blowing. If I say I want to turn that one on, you can see that the air is flowing underneath me and also into my face, okay? Into my face right there. So I also can synchronize the temperature on both sides. I'm guessing this ion thing is like a filter, so that filters the air that comes into the car. You can also control how the air is circulated in the car, all right? There's another screen. Oh yeah, so the VF6 Plus comes with cool seats, but not seat heater. So for example, I can cool my ass by turning that up, and I can feel the cool breeze going into my jeans and going into my underwear, and it's blowing my ass, okay? It's blowing my ass and my balls, and I feel really good about that. I think that's actually an underrated feature that nobody talks about, but I feel it's quite useful, especially in Vietnam where the weather is hot, okay? And I want some cool air in my ass. Would you agree, Mr. Sun?
Yes, I agree.
You agree? Yeah, all right. Enough about climate control. So let's talk about the firmware. Okay, let's talk about the software. So this is one of the first VinFast VF6 that has ever been released to consumer like me. So it's gonna have problems. The first thing is that the software is not complete. So it's missing a lot of features, including Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, okay? So that's missing from the firmware. It's times like this you realize that Android Auto is actually quite useful, because I love Google Maps. I wanna play YouTube videos in my car. And yes, there are some apps that allow you to do that, and I actually made a video about that here that will show you how to play YouTube video while you're driving your VinFast, okay? So because there is no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in the VF6 yet, so I find that it's not as enjoyable driving the VF6, okay? But not only that, there's a lot of missing features here. Let me give you some examples. Let's look at drive aids, all right? There's a lot of features missing. I don't know whether it's because they don't include them in the VF6 or it's just not finished yet. For example, there is no ADAS, so it doesn't have any form of self-driving. It does have cruise control. It does allow you to follow the car in front of you and slow down if they slow down. It does have that. I tested it, but that's about all you get. So hopefully VinFast will release firmware more quickly so that we'll be able to enjoy all of the features that VF6 Plus is designed to have. One other thing that I find quite different compared to other VinFast is, let me show you, is there is only seatbelt sensors in the front, okay? You can look at the car display here. There's only sensor in the front. I'm sitting in the driver's seat and Mr. Sun is sitting in the passenger seat, and you can see we did not put on our seatbelts, all right? And in the back, there is no sensor. So the car does not know if people in the back put on their seatbelt or not, and it's not gonna trigger any warning, all right? And in the front passenger seat, even though there is a sensor, if Mr. Sun does not put on his seatbelt and I actually drive the car away, the car will not give me any warning, which is very different from any other VinFast, because VinFast is very anal about people putting on their seatbelt, right? Which is good, because we want people to put on their seatbelt. But the thing about Vietnam is people drive so slowly, they're like, even if you get in an accident, nothing's gonna happen. In Vietnam, people are very anti-seatbelt, right? Is that true? That people don't want to put on the seatbelt. They actually find many ways to defeat the seatbelt. They actually put the seatbelt, some people put the seatbelt like this so that they don't have to put it in front of them. Some people actually buy devices, like a cheating device that they stick into the socket here, and the car thinks that the seatbelt is on. I know that a lot of people do that. I don't. I love the seatbelt. I'm from Canada. You know, seatbelt is great. I don't feel safe without it, okay? I always put on my seatbelt. But I'm just saying that in the VinFast VF6 Plus only care about the driver. Fuck the passengers, okay? The passenger, if they don't put on their seatbelt, fuck them! Is what the VinFast VF6 Plus says to the passengers. Yeah, right? So, Mr. Sun, do you put on your seatbelt?
No.
Oh, you never put on your seatbelt?
Yes.
Really? No, but seatbelt is your friend. You gotta use your seatbelt. All right, let's get back to the software. So there's like settings for the lights, auto. I have tested it. Auto actually does work. I'm saying that because when I first got the VinFast VF8 Plus back 15 months ago, one of the first VinFast VF8s in Vietnam and in the world, this thing doesn't work. And actually I was driving down the road at night with the light off, but it's actually set to on, right? But I've tested this, it actually works. This is how you adjust the side mirrors. So once you go into this menu, you can select left or right, and then you use your steering wheel to change the position of the mirror, like so. All right. One problem I have with that is it doesn't seem to remember my last setting. So I seem to be always adjusting my right side mirror because it always go into a different position than I last set it. I don't know why. I think it would be nice if the software remembers my last setting, okay? Like many VinFast EVs, the VF6 Plus does come with HUD display. So I can see many of the important information right in front of me, and you can configure what is shown on the heads-up display with this menu. You can turn on navigation, turn off navigation. You can turn on and off driver's aid. You can even change the color. I like green. And you can also change the position of the HUD display, and of course you can turn it off completely, but I like to turn it on now. It's a feature that I did not like in the beginning, but now that I got used to it, I think it's quite essential, so I always leave it on. With the newer firmwares from VinFast, the drive mode is actually down here. Because this is a Plus model, so I do get the sport mode, okay? And that is my favorite mode because I want to experience the full power of the VinFast VF6, which it does come with 201 horsepower, all right? Is it enough? It's adequate, but it's not like supercar, all right? Not supercar territory. You can set the regen braking mode. I like to keep it low just so that it drives like a normal car. When I set it too high, the car will tend to slow down when I'm not on the pedal. The car will tend to stop sooner if I'm not on the pedal, and it tends to give passengers more motion sickness. So I keep it on the low. I also keep the creep mode on because I like to have the car drive like a normal conventional car, so that if I turn the car on, I'm not on the pedal, the car will creep slightly forward, just like any other petrol cars. It does have many cameras around the car, so I can look in the front, on the side, in the back, more in the back. I get a wide angle, I guess, and then like so. So it does give you a very cool view around your car. And one thing I did notice about the VF6 Plus, it has this transparent mode. The car is actually transparent. You can see through, and then you can see pretty much everything around you, even what's below me. I think that's pretty cool, especially when I'm driving. But right now we're not driving, so it's not actually showing everything. But anyways, last week we did a speed test and we're able to get about 8.54 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, and that's fairly close to the advertised 8 seconds. We did have a lot of people in the car at the time. We have 4 people, including me, in the car, plus a lot of luggages and junk food from fintech. So that naturally will slow down the car a bit. So I think VinFast advertised 8 seconds is fairly accurate. We also did range test, and actually our first attempt to do the range test ended up with us stranded on the side of the highway with the help of the police, and then eventually the truck driver came and told us to a charging station nearby. Initially, our assessment was that the range was terrible in the VinFast VF6 Plus. We only got about 170 kilometers on a full charge. But subsequently, without actually doing a test, we're just driving the car normally, we're able to get more than 200 kilometers per full charge, all right? I don't know why. The first time we tested, the range was terrible, but as we drive more, the range got better. I don't know why that is. I'm trying to find a theory to explain it. Maybe driving the VinFast VF6 is like having sex, okay? Because remember, Mr. Sun, the first time you have sex, right, it probably wasn't that good, and it probably was a very short time, did not last very long. But as you do more and more and more of it, right, then you can last longer and longer and longer, right? So that's what I think about the VinFast EV batteries, right? Maybe the more you use it, okay, the longer it'll last. Maybe that's the explanation, right? So what I'm saying is that use it more often. Okay, gotta use it to keep it. I mean, you gotta use it to make it last longer, is what I'm saying. So we covered speed, we covered the range. What else is there to talk about? Storage compartments in the front, of course, right? Start off, we do have 2 cup holders in the front. Very accessible, which is great, but this is not gonna look like very luxurious. This is basically a piece of plastic that's in the middle of 2 seats, and it's very functional, but it's not gonna be luxury, okay? Also, you have some storage compartment here. It does come with a nice pocket here to keep your phone. For example, you can plug in your phone like charging cable, and then you put your phone here, right? So your phone is very accessible. I lost the cable, oh well. So there's some storage compartment here, and there's a 12-volt connector here, and it does come with 2 USB ports, one to connect the screen with your phone, and the other one is for charging your phone. This one's for charging, this one's to connect with the car, all right? So if you have music on your phone and you don't want to use wireless, then you can just connect that to your phone. It does come with 2 buttons in the center console. One is for the hazard lights. If you're having a problem with your car, you are by the side of the road, you can turn that on. And this is the door lock and release button. I always forget that this button's here. So when I have passengers that want to come into the car and the car door is locked, I'm like, where's that fucking button? Where's that fucking button? Well, let me tell you, the button's right here. All right, you just press that, you lock the doors, you press that, the door's unlocked. All right, I have to remember that. I always forget. I'm an idiot. In the VF6 Plus, the gear change buttons are actually here. And I think that's a really cool design. I actually much like this compared to the VF8, where the buttons is in the center console. So I find this just more accessible, more aesthetically pleasing, more pretty basically. And there's also some storage compartment here, a very little one. I don't know what you can put in there. Maybe your breath mints or bubble gum or your anal beads or whatever. Anal beads, okay? Anal beads is like thing you put in your ass for pleasure. Mr. Sun doesn't know what that is. Oh, and then it's actually not easy to keep it closed. See, once I open it, this thing needs a bit of improvement. Let me try to do it slowly. Okay, gotta do it slowly, okay? I'm not about slow, I'm always like fast. But with the VinFast VF6 Plus storage compartment, you gotta do it slowly. They all close, all right? There's some storage compartment on the side here. And of course, there's on the side here, and there is also the glove compartment. So one thing I want to say about the glove compartment of many VinFast EVs is that they give you a manual, all right? This manual. But you cannot put the manual in the glove compartment. So it won't close. Oh, I lied. It actually closed! Oh my God! I was trying to put this thing in here and then try to close it, but I couldn't earlier. But now I can. So I retract that statement. Yes, you can put the manual in the glove compartment in the VF6 Plus, but I don't think you can do that with the VF9. That's why you have to keep the manual on the side. And then when you're driving, the manual's like doing this. So that's quite annoying, but with the VF6, it's okay. In terms of visibility, okay, when you're in the driver's seat, the visibility, I say it's pretty good in the front, pretty good on the side. The side mirrors are pretty good and they're also adjustable from the steering wheel. But I have to say that the rear window visibility is terrible. First of all, the rear window is about this big. So you're not gonna see a lot through your rear view mirror, all right? You're not gonna see a lot. That's why the camera is important in the VF6. So when you're backing up, for example, like this gives you fairly good visibility. This is better than that, okay? And I can see Miss Feng's right there talking to our new interpreter. I don't know what they're talking about. Probably saying, you know, Tom's a total fucking ass boss, man. Yeah, you know, I want to quit. I want to fucking resign, but I can't because I love Tom. I'm running out of things to talk about. This is the windshield visor, I think, and it does come with a mirror so I can look at myself. You know, I did get COVID a while back. My face was all infected and shit, so, but now I'm looking better, I think. It does come with a little clip here, little clip that you can probably put your ID. I have not seen that in any other car, so that's kind of new. And the controls are very much like any other VinFast EV. When I say any other VinFast EV, I'm talking about the 8, the 9, basically the same controls. So if you drive a VinFast VF8 or a VF9 and you get into a VF6, it's pretty much the same thing. All the controls are in exactly the same places. And you can very easily get used to driving this car if you already drive another VinFast. All right. So let's get on the road and let me tell you about the driving experience, the driving feeling of the VinFast VF6, and maybe our passengers can also provide some feedback about riding in the VinFast VF6. All right, everybody. So in the car, we have Mr. Lam is my passenger.
Yes.
And in the front, that is. And in the back, we have Miss Feng. And also Mr. Hui.
Yes.
And what's your name again? I can never remember your name. Peng. Okay. Okay, well, is everybody comfortable?
Yes.
So we can comfortably seat 3 people in the back, right?
Yes.
Seatbelt apparently is optional in the VF6 Plus, so you want to put it on, you put it on. If you don't want to put it on, then get ready to die. Put it on. Let's put it on. Oh, all right. Okay. Let's get going. The drive selector is here, and let's go. So, Miss Trang, so what do you think about the ride comfort level in the back seat of the VinFast VF6 Plus? Is it bumpy? Is it smooth?
Well, so far I think it's kind of bumpy.
It's kind of bumpy, right? Compared to what?
Maybe compared to other cars.
Other cars. Okay. That's generally the feedback that I get as well from the passengers in the back, that they feel in the back seat VinFast cars tend to be a bit more bumpy. And actually, about 6 months ago, my father came to Vietnam to see me, and we were riding in the VinFast VF9, not the VF6, in the VF9. And my father was sitting in the second row. And this is what he said. He said, "Tom, you gotta let some of the air out of the tire," because he was feeling that the car was a bit too bumpy. and he thought maybe the tires are overinflated. So he was suggesting to me that we should deflate the tires, which just to show that the car is bumpy. Like the VinFast cars tend to be a bit more bumpy than the other cars. And also we have multiple cars in the company that serve as company cars, so we can take sales and customer service to see customers. And they also feedback that they tend to want to vomit more in the VinFast. And that's just an honest feedback for VinFast maybe, right? We gotta maybe tune the suspension a little bit to make the ride more comfortable. Okay, Ms. Trang,
Yes?
what about the actual seats? The seats, are they comfortable?
Yes, they are very comfortable.
They are very comfortable?
It's spacious.
Spacious? I wouldn't call that spacious, but okay.
Because I have enough legs room and this is very like large, I think.
Okay. Well, you're a small girl, so yeah.
Okay.
Well, you should try the VinFast VF6 It actually is even more roomy. You have even more leg room.
Okay, I'll buy it someday.
Yeah. Well, we have one. You'll buy it someday?
Maybe.
All right. Miss Fung,
Yeah.
what's your feeling about riding in the back?
So this is the second time I'm riding in the back. So like everyone say that's quite a bit better for me. But with me right now because we ride in the street quite good. So it's not much for me than bad street.
Okay, so I also agree with that. If the road condition is good, then you don't feel it as bad, right? But it's when the road is not in a good condition, then you really feel it. But we're in Vietnam, so oftentimes the road conditions are not that great. And I have to say that sitting in the front is very different from sitting in the back. In the front, I do feel that the car is much more composed in terms of the ride comfort level. I also concur with Ms. Trang about the quietness of electric cars. I think it's quite soothing riding in an electric car. If the car has adequate noise isolation from the outside, then it can get really, really quiet in here. Some people may not like that, but for me, it's a plus. Oh look, that's the invisible car I'm talking about. So because the car is invisible, I can actually see through the car and it gives you more visibility of what's around me. I think that's a really cool feature. Aha! I'm able to reproduce one of the problems. Do you hear the noise? Do you hear the beep?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is gonna be like that for a while. I don't know where that is coming from. I assume one of the sensors is picking up something. It's like a proximity warning. So something is too close to the car, but actually there's nothing too close to the car. I think it's just a faulty sensor that's causing this. But this is gonna last a little while. So when this happens, it's actually quite annoying. And I don't know how to turn it off. I actually went to driver's aid and I find all the settings for chime, but nothing can turn it off. So I think this car needs to go back to VinFast Service Center. Oh, it stopped? I don't know. All right, let's talk about the driving dynamic of the VinFast VF6 Plus. The VF6 Plus and also the regular model, they are front-wheel drive cars. So there's only one motor driving the front. And the Plus version does have 201 horsepower, and that's an interesting combination, all right? Because when the car is at a standstill and I floor it, like giving it a lot of acceleration, what happens is that the steering wheel tend to pull a bit to the right. All right, so it's called torque steer, and normally even in a front-wheel drive car with not enough power, you can't feel it. But in the VF6 Plus, it has adequate power, so you can actually feel the torque steer, which can be a bit unnerving if you're not used to it. Ready, everybody? Seatbelt on. All right, okay. So the VF6 Plus really drives like a front wheel drive car because it is. So in terms of the driving dynamic, it's very similar to VF5 and also the E34, but this one's got power. So it can feel a bit challenging. To keep this car, you know, behaving at extremes. Woo! All right, let's test the brakes. That took a long time to get to a stop, wouldn't you say? Let's go. Speechless. Let's go. It skids. This car skids. I wish I had a handbrake and then we can spin around. Wouldn't that be fun? So given the choice, I would want to buy an all-wheel drive electric vehicle like the VF8 Plus because it does keep the car on the road better, especially when you drive like Tom Peng. Of course, if you drive like a normal person, you're not gonna feel any of these things. It will just drive like a normal car. So at extremes, it tends to be a bit unpredictable, all right? Maybe that's what we like. We like a little bit of unpredictability in cars, in girls, in women, in opposite sex. I don't know, but it adds the level of fun, I think. Would you agree, Mr. Lam?
Yes.
He says yes to everything. Hey, there's a seatbelt warning. Miss Sun, your seatbelt. Oh my God, the passenger seat seatbelt does work. I lied. It does work, but it didn't work before. What happened? But I swear it did not work. But let me show you, all right? Mr. Sun, yes. Mr. Sun is a very muscular, big guy. Yeah. So I think what happened was when Miss Fung was sitting in the front, it did not trigger the seatbelt warning because she's too light. She's too skinny, and the car doesn't consider her to be in the seat, so it didn't trigger the warning. So I thought there's no seatbelt detection in the front, but that's actually not true. You gotta get somebody heavy like Mr. Sun in the front, then it'll work. All right, but for sure the back doesn't have any seatbelt detection. Let's go. So is the VinFast VF6 a worthy member of the VinFast car lineup? Well, first of all, let's look at the standard model and also the Plus model, all right? So I have some comparisons here, and the VF6 Plus starts at 765 million dong. And of course, if you want to buy the battery, it's more. I think we bought the battery and we paid around 850, something like that, million dong to buy this car with the battery purchased, so that we don't have to pay monthly for the subscription. And the base model is 675 million dong, and of course that's with the battery lease. If you want to buy the battery, it's more. So should you buy the base or the Plus? Let's answer that question first. Just by looking at the comparison, I can see that both cars are front wheel drive. Personally, I prefer all-wheel drive EVs. It doesn't add extra amount of weight if you put a second motor in the back. And I think all-wheel drive just gives you more peace of mind, more stability compared to the single motor version. The base model does have less power. It's 134 horsepower, I believe. It's the same motor in the VinFast VF5, so it's not going to give you a lot of performance. This one has a more powerful motor, rated at 201 horsepower. It does take the car to 100 km per hour in about 8 seconds, but it's not record-breaking, it's not amazing, it's very average, all right? Compared to most cars on the street, they can do about 8 seconds. So both versions not fancy in terms of power delivery. Compare the Plus and the base. The base is missing a lot of features. For example, the folding side mirrors does not have in the base version. Maybe that's not important. And also the base model doesn't have all the fancy features like ventilated seats. You know, you don't get the cool air blowing up in your ass in the base model. And also the base model only have 4 airbags compared to the 8 airbags in the Plus model. Because if you buy the base model, that means maybe you're more prone to death, right? If you buy the base, then you're more likely to end up in the funeral home. Is what VinFast is telling you. If you buy the base model, then too bad, you only get 4 airbags. So many of the assisted driving features are not available in the base model, so you're not gonna get the cruise control, you're not gonna get the self-driving features. Maybe that's important, maybe that's not, but comparing the base and the Plus, I would definitely get the Plus because my passengers probably also want 8 airbags, right? You want 8 airbags? Yeah, all right, especially when Tom is driving. So yeah, get the Plus model. Now, is the VF6 a worthy model in the VinFast lineup? Now here's my verdict, okay? The car is average and the quality maybe in the initial release of the VF6 is not quite up there. The software is not ready and I feel that the car is not ready. Again, like many of the VinFast models, I think this car is released a bit too early. I wish they'd released the car with all of the features already properly tested. And there are many annoyances, like for example, a noisy car when it's turned on and sometimes the screen goes blank and sometimes you cannot change gear. So all of these things we have workaround. Basically the workaround is turn the car off, walk away, come back, and sometimes magically it gets fixed by itself. But that just shows that the car is not really ready. It's not a pre-production car, it's more like a alpha version, right? It's not really ready for consumer consumption. That's how I feel. Maybe that's the trend with electric car manufacturers. They use consumers like us as the beta testers. We're supposed to test the car for the manufacturers. But I think that a better practice would be to deliver a better, properly tested, functioning car to consumer. Now, having driven this car for about 1,000 kilometers and over 2 weeks, we did take the car to fintech and back. And given my experience, if I'm a normal consumer, meaning I'm not Tom Peng, because Tom Peng will buy every VinFast car, okay? If I'm not Tom Peng, I probably would not buy the VinFast VF6 Plus because the car is kind of in an awkward position, right? The VF5 is a great car and it gives you a really good range. It charges up fast. It's very versatile. It's very practical. And you have the E34, which is also another very versatile car. And then you have the VF6. They all seem to be in the same category. And would I pay more money for the VF6 knowing that VF5 and the E34 are pretty good cars? Probably not, probably not. I just feel that there are too many cars in the same range. Given the choice of VF5 and the VF6, I will pick the VF5. I will spend less money too and get a car that's probably more reliable and give me equal or better range and it charges faster because it has a smaller battery. I feel the VinFast VF6 Plus is a very average car. It's very average. Every aspect of this car is very average, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes average is okay. If you're looking for a regular commuter car, this is okay. But if you're looking for something more exciting, more fun, or more unique, then this may not be it. And I feel this car is like a wolf in sheep's clothing because on the surface, on the outside, it looks like a really sexy car. It's a handsome car. It looks very sleek. It looks very sporty, and it's red, but it doesn't have the performance to back it up. Is how I really feel about the VF6 Plus. So, final thought, if you're looking for front-wheel drive cars, look into the VF5 Plus. And if you're looking for all-wheel drive, which is what I recommend, it would be the VF8 Plus, all right? So take some fucking action, look into the VF6. Ignore what I just said. I could be a complete idiot. Maybe this is a great car for you, and don't be a fucktard.